Well, the application process, it is underway for stage 1 of the Supplemental Disaster Relief Program. From payment calculations to determining qualifying losses, the paperwork, it can cause some questions, and I'm sure it's overwhelming. The man to help us break it all down, Roger McEowen with the Washburn School of Law. Roger, a pleasure. Let's get going with some of the main eligibility requirements and covered losses. What do producers need to know?
Well, eligible producers are those that suffered adverse weather events in 23 or 24. And during this first stage, eligibility is restricted to producers that receive crop insurance or had non-insurance premium indemnity, NAP indemnity, for a qualified disaster. So that's your first step to determine whether you're even eligible for a stage 1 payment.
How exactly are these payments calculated?
Well, there's a step-by-step process that a producer has to go through. You first have to compute your gross indemnity, and that's the total indemnity that's paid by crop insurance or your NAP. But you've got to back out any replant payments that you received. And then you have to apply the SDRP payment factor. And for 2023 crops, that payment factor is 35% of your actual calculated loss. And that's designed to ensure funds are distributed equitably across all eligible producers. And then you have to there's a cap on the total payment. They can't exceed 90% of the total calculated loss if you had at least 80% coverage on your insurance. And if you had less than 80% coverage on your insurance, then the cap is 75% of the loss. And then the last step, payments from other USDA disaster programs are offset then to prevent duplication. So you got to go step by step and make sure you're under the AGI limit of 900,000 to be eligible.
So there is, I'm sure, a little overwhelming, right? When we're trying to do all these steps, crunch these numbers. Yeah. Roger, tell me about the application that shows this. It's a dollar amount that comes up. I think farmers think that's what they're going to get paid, or is that true or no?
Yeah, no, that's not the number they're going to get paid because there's that 90% cap that might apply. So if we assume that a farmer had at least 80% insurance coverage, then the farmer is eligible for up to 90% of that total loss. But again, in stage 1, they can only get 35% of that amount. Now, a second payment may be made later in stage 2. To bring the total closer to the cap if funding allows. But basically, you're looking at 35% of what your covered loss is.
Yeah, you mentioned stage 2. Any idea as to when that's going to happen and what that might look like?
Well, the talk is right now, sometime in mid-September, we may see some rules come out for stage 2, but a lot of it depends on how much gets dispersed in stage 1. And they just announced that $1 billion have already been dispersed. So it kind of depends on how much funds are left for stage 2.
All right, Roger, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us and making time. We do appreciate it. Roger McEowen with the Washburn School of Law.